I don't know. It's 10 years. It's unreal.
Well, in just a few days, Mendota Heights will mark a dark anniversary. 10 years now since police officer Scott Patrick was killed during a routine traffic stop. And as our Paul Blume shows us tonight, a decade later, one man is making sure that no one ever forgets the sacrifice of his friend and former brother in uniform.
This spot, this intersection at Smith Avenue and Dodd Road,
I call it sacred ground.
means everything to Neil Garlock.
I guess I just have this feeling when I walk by that he was laying right there, you know.
It was here 10 years ago that Garlock's dear friend and fellow Mendota Heights police officer Scott Patrick was shot and killed, gunned down during an otherwise routine traffic stop on July 30th. 2014.
Officer Scott Patrick was killed this afternoon after being shot during a traffic stop. Patrick, a 47-year-old Mendota Heights police veteran, was shot just after 12:15 near the intersection of Dodd and Smith in West St. Paul.
Officer Patrick had barely stepped out of his squad when the driver, a career felon and fugitive, opened fire from behind the wheel.
He didn't see the gun come out the window. He didn't have a chance to move.
Garlock had just retired from the police department weeks before the deadly shooting shattered his heart and ripped a hole in this suburban community of less than 12,000.
All unit, Officer Scott Patrick, badge 2231, is out of service. End of watch, July 30th, 2014.
I'm actually kind of sensitive about things about Scott, but I don't know. It's just something I deal with. I have to deal with it my own way.
Garlock lost a dear friend, a former neighbor, and a brother in uniform.
Scott, I love you. We love you. Rest now. We'll take your watch from here.
Officer Patrick served Mendota Heights for 19 years.
The whole thing is to memorialize his life and to do as much as we can.
Garlock committed to making sure no one ever forgets Scott Patrick's sacrifice.
He got out, and when he got just about in front of his headlight, that's when he got shot.
Garlock was eventually elected mayor of the city, becoming the driving force in naming the annual community 5K run after Officer Patrick, installing this end-of-watch granite tribute at Market Square, and placing these memorial benches across Mendota Heights.
So the whole point is just that people don't forget who he was.
But it is at the Smith and Dodd intersection, just over the border into West St. Paul, where Garlock pours his heart and soul, tending to this space as hallowed ground.
I walk this way by every morning, every day. I get off work at noon and I go for a walk.
Garlock lives just a half-mile away and is chief caretaker along a stretch of road now known as Officer Scott Patrick Memorial Highway.
This is when they dedicated his Dodd Road in his name.
It is both a physical and emotional connection, a deep attachment for this longtime law enforcement vet anytime someone wearing the badge does not go home at the end of their shift.
It always brings you back to Smith and Dodd. I don't care if it's in California or wherever. It's going to bring me back to Smith and Dodd.
And we are here live now at the Smith and Dodd Road intersection in West St. Paul. It is here where Neil Garlock does annually host a community vigil on July 30th, so coming up on Tuesdays, inviting the community once again for a somber anniversary, of course, 10 years. It will culminate, as it always does, with a powerful moment of silence right at 12:20. Tim, of course, 12:20. The exact time Scott Patrick was killed making that routine traffic stop. Back to you.
My goodness, we all remember it well. Thanks for such a great memorial there, Paul. Appreciate it.